Our guest today is the chairman and CEO of Roundy's Supermarkets. He has served as chairman, president, and CEO for just over 13 years. Just over 12 years ago, our guest today, in fashion of the City Club commitment to civic and charitable activities, established the Roundy's Foundation. The Roundy's Foundation has given more than $9 million to, number one, organizations addressing hunger relief, number two, families in crisis due to domestic abuse, and three, which I noticed yesterday at Mariano's, employing children and adults with special needs. He earned his bachelor's degree from UIC and his MBA from the University of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Mariano. Bob? Thank you. Have fun up there.
Well, thank you, Jay, for that kind introduction, and as well the invitation to be here. I'm honored. I'm so pleased to be able to speak before all of you again. It's an honor to be among so many distinguished leaders from politics, government, business, labor, and the community. We are all part of what makes Chicago work. I have many friends and family that came with me today. My lovely wife, Nina. My father-in-law, Dominic DeFrisco. We have a whole table of my colleagues over here. And I would be remiss if didn't mention this other group of people who have been with me since we started Mariano's over 5 years ago, and that's all the people from Local 881 of the United Food and Commercial Workers. Ron Powell, thank you very much. I got in the grocery business at a young age. My father was my first mentor. He was a butcher and a deli buyer for Dominic's Finer Foods. And I learned much from the legendary Dominic DiMatteo. Workforce Trends tells us that people can expect to have up to 5 different careers in a lifetime. Well, that's not me. I'm a grocer. I was a grocer at 17. I'm still a grocer today. I'm only 19, by the way. Like many of you already know, I'm a Chicagoan through and through. I grew up in Jefferson Park. I'm a product of Chicago education from my grammar school days to the University of Illinois Chicago and the University of Chicago Business School. I'm the poster child for Chicago education, K through MBA. And that's why I'm so proud that Mariano's has become a quintessential Chicago success story in a relatively short period of time. Mariano's has become an engine of economic opportunity in the city that I love and has given me so much. To give you some perspective, we currently have 10 locations, and the 11th will open on October 27th this year in Lincoln Park. In 2016, we'll add 2 additional stores, and in 2017, another store. We have employed over 13,000 residents of the city of Chicago since we opened our first store 5 years ago, and have paid over $147 million in wages to our resident Chicago employees since then. We also support the city through remission of sales and use tax, and that number is over $5 million since we opened our first store here in Chicago. By the end of this year, we will have invested $165 million on building and capital equipment for the 11 stores in the city. Through 2017, that number will rise north of $225 million with more than 2,200 construction jobs created. Now that's a lot of hard hats. All this growth is great. I'm very proud of my entire team for the successes we've had in this market. But I like to focus my time with you on one store opening in particular and how I believe stands as a symbol of what can be accomplished when the public and private sector work together. In 2016, we will open a store in Bronzeville at the corner of 39th and King Drive. This project has been the most rewarding of my career. Bronzeville is a wonderful community. I've gotten to know the area and the people a great deal over the last year. Bronzeville has a rich history as a black metropolis in the early part of the 20th century. It was home to the internationally renowned figures such as Ida B. Wells, Gwendolyn Brooks, and Louis Armstrong. It was a vibrant, lively community of African American life. But then the area fell on hard times and endured decades of difficulties and neglect. People moved out, businesses moved out, crime went up, and so did a sense of despair. But if ever there was a symbol that if you fall down, you can get back up again, it's Bronzeville. Today, Bronzeville is on the rise, and Mariano's is playing a part in that. We are playing a part in that because grocery stores matter to the community at many levels. In fact, grocery stores are community institutions. Think about it. More people walk into the community grocery store at any given day than walk into the local library, the local community center, or the precinct ward office. Grocery stores matter in two very specific ways. First, grocery stores are economic engines that create a ripple effect throughout the community. Our Bronzeville store hasn't even opened yet, and you can already see other retail outlets popping up because we will be such a highly visible anchor. This creates a virtuous cycle where investment spurs investment and spurs more investment. Our store will be providing hundreds of job opportunities for local residents. The architects, developers, general contractors for our store are local. They are from the community. Second, grocery stores provide nutritional security to the community. More than a bank or a restaurant, as important as those are, grocery stores provide affordable nutrition. You have already heard the term food desert. There are too many areas in our city that have no reasonable access to fresh fruits and vegetables. More than 23 million people in the U.S. live in food deserts, including a number of underserved neighborhoods right here in Chicago. As Mayor Emanuel said, no child should ever live more than 2 miles from healthy food. This store in Bronzeville, and we hope other underserved communities, will provide easy and reliable access to the foods that keep us healthy. But I think just as important to what we're doing in Bronzeville is how we're doing it. And this may be the most important lesson of all and a model for other communities. In a word, it's partnerships. I can tell you that Mariano's just didn't decide one day to put up a store in Bronzeville and go about doing it in isolation. Not at all. This was truly a collaborative effort in every sense of the word, bringing all the parties together to work on a common ambition. It was a collaboration of private sector stakeholders, public sector stakeholders, and the community itself. This collaboration was involved in every aspect of the project, from site selection to financing, regulatory approvals, design, development, construction, recruitment, hiring. We partnered with local experts to make sure our new store aligned with the historical architectural feel of this great neighborhood. We talked to local residents about what kind of food they wanted to see in the new store. We're working with local law enforcement to address concerns ahead of time instead of after the fact. We're partnering with local community leaders to make sure that those who benefit from the jobs and economic stimulus are those who actually live in the community. We're working with Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, which plays a key role in placing Mariano's team members at various locations across the city of Chicago, as well as suburban Cook County. We're partnering with Chicago Public Schools on recruitment as well. We have already hired more than 600 students from Chicago City colleges since we opened our first store in Chicago. We've worked tirelessly with the mayor's office and two great advocates of us, Alderman Pat Dowell and Will Burns. Through every step of the way on regulatory, zoning, and finance issues, the mayor and his team have been instrumental in making this happen. At every stage, from community hearings to one-on-one conversations to just walking the neighborhood, we all developed a rapport that allowed us to share our concerns and find common solutions. As I said, this has been among the most personally rewarding projects of my life, and we look forward to replicating that in other neighborhoods in the near future. Today, Bronzeville is a community that is looking up with a big, bright future ahead of it. This would have been unthinkable just a short time ago. The reason Bronzeville is ascending is because the private sector, the public sector, and the community have come together to get big things done. This project in Bronzeville is truly a victory. It's a victory for my company, it's a victory for the community, and it's a victory for the city. Whatever your role is, whether you're for-profit or not-for-profit, Know that you can do so much more when you lock arm in arm with others. Mariano's locked arms with Mayor Emanuel, the aldermen, community leaders, our developer, and we all came out better for it. Different parties with divergent points of view working together has been the key to Chicago's greatness in the past and will surely be the key to Chicago's future. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Where's our little Amanda? You're not coming in with your usual. There she is. You want to just speak up real quick?
Yes. Mr. Mariano, your remarks were very inspiring. And I was very in tune with your comments about food deserts. I am a resident of the South Shore. And remember when the Dominics came in at 70 cents a check? It is now gone. And we need a grocery store. And I don't know what the facts are. But obviously, what you're doing in Bronzeville, we're loving it. I shop in your store at 16th and Clark, is it?
Yes.
Love it. Why can't you come to 71st?
Well, it's
Very sincere.
no, I appreciate it.
I'm not the only one.
Well, I would tell you probably every alderman who doesn't have a store in his or her ward wants Mariano's in their ward. But we are and continue to look at the opportunity in South Shore. Know that we have a site that we've selected at 87th and South Shore. We continue to look for where there are opportunities. We open 5 stores a year, so it isn't like we're doing 10 or 15 a year. We're doing this methodically and doing it right. So I would not say we're not looking at all parts of the city. We continue to do so. So Bronzeville didn't come, and just to appreciate, I think Alderman, correct me if I'm wrong. We started 4 years ago, 3 years ago, to get to where we are today. And the store that will open in Lincoln Park, that lease was signed in 2008, and we're opening the store in 2015. So these projects can take an inordinate amount of time. So
what I'm hearing you say with respect to 71st and Jefferson is keep hope alive.
yes, yeah, don't lose faith. Don't lose faith.
We got a few more questions. Mariano's going to take the place of the ward office this time. Everyone wants one in their ward. Okay, Marilyn Katzen, where are you? Now I see you. From the Browner Group. She has a group. Okay. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
They don't get easier. You've done very well with your kosher section in your Skokie store. Not bad timing on that one. Are your plans to replicate it in your new Northbrook and other Chicago locations?
It's a good question. We won't replicate it yet until we figure out how it works. We try many things that are new and innovative, but we have to figure out how it works. And what I simply mean by that is, what are the customers really looking for? What makes sense? And we also obligated to our customers as well as to our shareholders. We need to make money at it. And so if we can't run a particular operation efficiently and make money, we're not doing the right thing to sustain our business for our customers. So right now we're pleased with what's going on, and we're really going to school, if you will, to do it more profitably and do it better.
Stephanie Emmerich, Service Speaks. By the way, Stephanie, excellent big print. Look at that, pretty good, huh? How did taking any of your companies public affect your service levels and internet morale? Not quite sure I understand it, but I'm sure you could handle it. Internal. I told you, lousy handwriting, my God. Like internet, okay?
Well, I think what we try to explain to our people that the relationship between what the stock market does and how well we're serving our customers are not necessarily the same movement. So we have other measurements and metrics that the stores can look at and know very well that they're taking care of their customers and that they're doing a good job of taking care of our customers. So service is not a problem, and we kind of separate the two metrics of being share price from how well we're doing taking care of our people.
Okay. Bob, you're doing a great job, better than the moderator, that's for sure, but this is the City Club where sandbag questions, even with clergymen, still have to be discussed. Dave Lundy, don't raise your hand, Dave. He starts off with a little, schmooze, and then get ready. Here we go. First, thank you for bringing a high-quality, affordable shopping experience to Chicago. Denny says, I recently noticed that you've been hiking some of your prices. Is this a sign of things to come? I'm just reading it, everybody, and I read it correctly.
Well, some prices have gone up because the commodity markets have moved. And we do move with them sometimes. We don't move with them all the time. To say that we've passed along everything that, from a cost standpoint, that's gone up, that wouldn't be the case. But, prices will fluctuate over time. I still think that we have the best value for the great quality and service that we provide people. And, if there's a particular item that we're out of line on, I certainly would like to know it because we pay a great deal of attention to make sure we're very competitive. What we won't do is sell things ridiculously cheap that are then subsidized by something being higher price. So we try to do things on a very equitable basis.
Good answer. How about a big round of applause? Bob, we got